Hello guys and welcome to 𝐜𝐿 World Cup last 16 round, and we have a full house today to analyze the games that are going to take place on the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. We have Alvaro Romeo, Alain Valnegri and Daniele Fisichella. Hello everyone. So the best of Oddspedia to offer you good tips, good analysis for these 4 games that are going to take place on Saturday and Sunday. But remember as well that we want to know your opinion. Ask any questions since this is a live video, and leave your comments below. And of course, if you enjoy the video, press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. Well, we have a comment saying that the team looks hot. I'm not sure if this is the right comment or the right adjective for us, but we are going to try to do our best. Let's start with the first game. Very interesting one, and perhaps the one that we could see a surprise. We have Netherlands-USA is the first last 16 game. Netherlands, in my opinion, they are not brilliant, but still they manage and they cruise in their group. We have 𝐿𝐭𝐿𝐿 in the Netherlands team, one of the best players in the World Cup so far. And USA is this team that they are playing good, especially in the first half. But I don't know, Danny, if they are prepared to give us a surprise, a big surprise, and kick out these Netherlands that, again, as I say, is so far.
I think they gave us already a surprise because no one would have predicted them coming out of the group, considering how young they are, the lack of international experience, the lack of a recognized strikers, but they surprised everyone. And against England, they had a very, very good game. You know, if USA had, I'm not going to say Harry Kane, but even Callum Wilson, they would have won against England easily. And against Iran, kept the ball really well, shut down shop. I don't remember an Iran shot on goal, really, that troubled the USA keeper. But of course, the doubts are there, the question marks are there, because it is a very young team. But look at the way Tyler Adams is playing. And also, I'm really impressed by McKennie and 𝐜𝐭𝐴_𝐷𝒛𝒃. You know, I see them week in and week out in Serie A. I know Alain watched Serie A as well. You know, never seen them playing that well, 𝐜𝐭𝐴_𝐷𝒛𝒃 and McKennie. So clearly there is something there in these players, and Berhalter is getting the best out of them. Of course, the question mark when it comes to knockout stages is, can they score against top teams? You know, after all, against England was 0-0. The odds for USA to win or to qualify are really, really good, considering the Netherlands. Yes, they're still unbeaten under Van Gaal. I think it's 19 games unbeaten against Qatar. Okay, Van Gaal didn't do many changes. They needed a convincing win, and it was 2-0. But you know, really, it was an easy group. Okay, the Netherlands had the easiest group of the World Cup. The question mark with Netherlands is, have they got the psychological strength to control the games, which they didn't against Ecuador, and also the wing backs. Dumfries and Blind, they're not really performing on that system. You need very good wing backs. You mentioned 𝐵𝐾𝐿𝐴 as well. I think there could be an upset here. I'm going to go for USA Asian handicap 0 in the first half, which pays, USA Asian handicap plus 0.25 in the first half, which pays 181. So it means if there is a draw, you win half a stake. If they win the first half, you win. Of course, if they lose, you do lose your stake.
USA to qualify, you mentioned, Danny, that this could happen. Odds, and it pays well. Odds are 2.75. What we are seeing so far in this World Cup, following this tip from Danny, is USA performing better in the first half than in the second one. Alain, probably also because it's a very young team, and then they don't have the experience to manage the tension as it happened against Iran, that in the second half, I think they were a bit shaky. We cannot hear you, Alain.
It's one of the limits about USA from the beginning. The management of the energy in the game. We saw that against Iran too. And another limit, they don't have a striker. What you said, Danny, because the team create a lot. I think it's an opposition between a team with a really strong individuality like Holland, but they don't found the collective way to play, and this is really strange for a Van Gaal team. Maybe the team can be wake up from this game. They need to wake up, because in front there will be found a team really strong, really with a very good distribution about the space. For that game, I think USA have something more in this moment in the collective perspective. There will be put a lot of difficulty to Holland. USA is a team, I consider USA like a club team, because it's few years they're working to build this team with young player, with the objective 2026 to be a really strong team. For that game, I choose the double opportunity X2. USA doesn't lose at the end of the game. Odds 1.83.
Wow, I see Alain and Danny going for the USA. We have one comment from Lyle, halftime 0-0. This is happening a lot in this World Cup.
Yeah.
And Red Room is reminding us Van Gaal to win. Alvaro, the experience is on Netherlands, although we haven't seen this team in the knockout stages since Van Gaal took them to the semifinals in Brazil. Perhaps this experience, at least from the manager point of view, can play a role, and even from the players, no? Netherlands, even if they also have a really young team, they have some experienced players, and in the knockout stages, this can play a part, of course.
The thing with the Netherlands is what we expected from them and what we have seen from them. I disagree with Daniele in something. I think that the Netherlands have a tough group. I think that you said, Daniele, that the group was not too tough, but playing against Senegal and Ecuador is not easy. The African champion, number one, and Ecuador is quite physical. And I think that
but Alvaro, they played against the fourth team in the 𝐿𝐴𝐽𝐻 qualified. Senegal.
What do you mean? What do you mean the fourth team in the 𝐿𝐴𝐽𝐻?
Because it's not
the fourth team in the 𝐿𝐴𝐽𝐻 is a decent side.
Yeah, but
this is South America we're speaking about.
And Senegal without
Of course,
Mane,
because this is a group stage. You can play against Germany, France, and Brazil in the group stage.
But Senegal without Mane and Qatar is 3 points guaranteed. I mean, I think if you look at all the groups, it's not the group of death. That's what I said.
It's not an easy.
No, there are no easy games. There are no easy games. International football, there are no easy games. But comparatively to Spain, it's an easy group.
Because that was the group of death. But anyway, I would like to carry on. I think that the Netherlands didn't have an easy group, and it was a very physical group. In fact, Ecuador has been, or in the first half of the South American qualifier, Ecuador was third on the table until Uruguay signed Diego Alonso, and then they changed. And Senegal is the African champion. And I think that the Netherlands, we perceive them as a fun team to watch, and they are not like that. If anything, they are physical, and their physicality is imposing itself. They played against teams that resemble them a little bit, like Ecuador and Senegal, and they haven't lost. This is the contest between two sides that have been low-scoring sides, but each of them have conceded only one goal in the World Cup, which I think that gives us a hint about how this game could be. Yes, the United States, they don't score many goals because they don't have a proper striker. And then the Netherlands, they are having some sort of the same issue. In fact, it's 𝐜𝐴𝐽𝐻𝐿𝐴, the guy who is scoring all the goals, or pretty much all the goals, and 𝐜𝐴𝐽𝐻𝐿𝐴 is the joint top scorer of this World Cup with 3 goals. USA got a clean sheet against England, and the Netherlands had a clean sheet against Senegal. So this will set the tone a little bit. I think the defenses of these sides, especially the Dutch defense, is pretty good. And having Van Dijk as the leader of the defense with that system that the Netherlands plays with, I think that creates like a very good and rocky side by the Netherlands, or for the Netherlands. I think that self-protection is what Netherlands is doing best now. And the United States, well, if I have to say from these two who has entertained me more, I will say United States, more than the Netherlands, because they've got many strikers that they do the movements a la Rock or a la Bishop, if we compare players to chess pieces. I mean, horizontal runs, diagonal runs, very good ones. Let's see if one of the guys who masters this Christian Pulisic is available for the game because he has been diagnosed with a pelvic contusion and his status is day-to-day. So let's see if he can play. But, I think that this game is going to be interesting. I think that the Netherlands eventually are going to win it. I will go for Netherlands to win 2-0-2. But there is another individual market that I like here. 𝐜𝐿𝐴𝐵 to have one shot on target or more, only one shot on target or more, that pays 167.
That's good. 𝐿𝐴𝐵 agrees with you. Alvaro, easy win for the Netherlands. Netherlands to win 2-0-2. Alain, do you also see a cagey one? An under game? This is a knockout stages. Usually the teams, of course, are defensive, at least in the first 45 minutes, especially if they don't concede early. And the bookies expect also a cagey one under 2.5 goals, only pays 1.65. Do you also see, as we are seeing from both sides, not conceding many goals in this World Cup, that this could be a cagey one?
Might depend. Every game has its history. If one of about the game, yes, they're strong. I think Holland suffered. Except the game of Qatar, I don't saw because I was not interested to saw that game. But the first two games, Holland don't deserve winning both games. Against Ecuador, they risk a lot, and against Senegal, is really generous, the results. With the rhythm have United States play in a rhythm really high, the circulation of the ball are really fast, and that one I think can be create a lot of problem to Holland. Now I am really curious if Holland can adapt its level to 18 of final, but I have some doubt.
Well, guys, did you see any other good bet for this game? Any other market that we should focus? Alvaro, Dani?
Yes, I mean, I mentioned before that the Netherlands have conceded one goal in the World Cup. I am totally aware that the United States are going to attack, but still, the clean sheet for the Netherlands is 220. I think that this is going to be a low-scoring game, so just keep it in mind.
If you look at the number of goals and if you look at the stats so far at the time we record the show, the average goals in the World Cup is lower than the previous two World Cups, is lower than the Euros, is way lower than the Champions League. That tells you that international football is very, very level these days. And you mentioned rightly, Edu, at the beginning, 21 first halves have finished 0-0 and 12 first halves so far have finished 1-0. So if you go for a first half under, first half 0-0, first half under one goal, most of the time you've been winning. Let's see, obviously every game is different, but there is a trend in this World Cup.
It's very difficult to bet in these knockout stages. In the World Cup, it will be a low-scoring game for 𝐿𝐴𝐵. Our analysts agree, so let's move on to the next game. Alvaro going for Netherlands. Alain and Dani have more, they are more optimistic with the USA. Next one, everyone agrees that this is one-sided. Argentina, Australia, we are not going to see these low odds, I think, in the whole knockout stages. 1.22 Argentina to win. They've managed to overcome the pressure after losing against Saudi Arabia. Still, of course, not playing great, even with the present for the penalty given to Leo Messi. I think that was a joke. But, Alvaro, the reality is that the team is managing the pressure. They have put in the pitch McAllister and Enzo Fernandez that are improving the team. Of course, Australia is not a great rival, but I'm not still convinced with Argentina, to be honest. Of course, there is a big hype about them after winning the two remaining games against Mexico and Poland. We have to see them against tough opposition yet in this World Cup.
Yes, the thing is that I would say that for about two full games, for about 880 minutes, which is from the second half against Saudi Arabia until the second half against Poland, we saw an Argentinian side that was totally frozen. They were playing with loads of pressure. So that's why maybe they didn't resemble to the Argentina we saw at the Finalissima when they beat Italy 3-0, or they didn't resemble the Argentina that qualified for the World Cup in the CONMEBOL coming second. I will say that this game comes a little bit of a surprise for me, especially with the odds that are too favorable for Argentina. I'm not saying that Argentina is not a favorite. Of course they are. But for example, Poland has better odds than Australia. And I think that Poland has proven less than Australia in this World Cup, and France has proven more than Argentina in this World Cup. Argentina has 2 clean sheets in a row. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. For the first time in this World Cup, they had 23 minutes to enjoy being in a World Cup after Julián Álvarez scored the second goal against Poland. And we saw the real Argentina, the Argentina that has been entertaining and livening up the Argentinian crowd for the last 2 years. Of course, the teams evolve during a World Cup. We saw that Scaloni had a lineup for the beginning of the tournament, but Lisandro Martinez, Julián Álvarez, Enzo Fernández have said, here I am, and I expect them to have chances to play, especially the latter, Julián Álvarez and Enzo Fernández. But will Scaloni dare to play Lautaro and Julián together? At whose expense? Maybe Di Maria, a midfielder? I'm not too sure about that, but I think that Julián Álvarez has a good chance of playing, and Enzo Fernández, of course, as well, and they are very good players. Australia, of course, is going to offer a physical contest to Argentina. They'll be definitely more daring than Poland. And Australia has some strong characteristics that we have seen so far. They beat Tunisia. They eliminated Denmark, which is, for me, the surprise of the World Cup. Or it was until Germany was knocked out in a very strident fashion. Australia lost the possession against Denmark, against France, and against Tunisia. So Australia doesn't have a lot of the ball. They are vertical in the counterattacks, but they don't have a lot of the ball. This points me in the direction of the card market, because I think that if Argentina has the ball more, with the kind of players they've got, Julián, Di Maria, Messi, players who can dribble past, maybe Australia is going to get some yellow cards on some cards. So for this game, I'm going to go for the following. Over 4.5 cards in the game. Over 4.5 cards in the game. That pays 206, because I think that Australia is going to get some yellows. And over 5.5 corners for Argentina, because Argentina is going to dominate the game, and they are going to take many more corners than Australia. That pays 145. I'm going to stay there.
Alain, you know a lot about Australian football. You were commenting the A-League. Many players of this Australian team plays still in Australia. This is something that is not happening, for instance, for the Asian teams like Japan and Korea, that many of the players are in Europe. For those who don't know a lot about Australia, are these odds correct, or in your opinion, they still have a chance against this Argentina?
Yes, I think this is correct. Now, Australia is a mix between A-League and Scottish Premier League that have a lot of players. They're playing in Scotland. Game will be more similar to the game against France than Denmark and Tunisia. We saw Denmark, it was a big deception about this World Cup. They have a lot of problem to attack. Tunis, we know then when they need to have the possession, elaborate the game, that is not the same team. Tunisia is really strong in offensive transition, attack the space. When they don't found the space, they have problem. I think the talent between both teams, the difference is really high. Now, Argentina, in this moment, I think Scaloni found his 11 start, especially in the midfield, who is the key for the model of play they need. Argentina, in front of the mobility of the fantasy of that player can make the difference in one-to-one, in the dual one-to-one. I think Argentina can have a really easy game. And Australia was a party to classify, because with that team, with the individual level, they don't wait that in Australia. I think Argentina will start really strong. In the last game, we don't saw Argentina score in the first half, but before the World Cup, Argentina have a statistic to score in the first half really high. I think that there will be score in the first half, and I think there will be score a lot of goal, over 2.75 odds, 2.03.
Easy victory, in Alain's opinion, for Argentina. Also, Danny, you always mention that Lautaro Martinez is a player of strays. He's not showing up in this World Cup. Argentina needs to add him to the score sheet.
He had a great chance at the end against Poland and he missed it. But yeah, in Serie A, Alain knows, I'm sure. If Lautaro scores, then he scores for 3-4 consecutive weeks. Then he doesn't score for a couple of months and then he continues to score. He's a very strange, moody character, Lautaro. Let's see if he starts. It'll be really interesting in the crunch game what 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐻 does. Look, Australia, yeah, I mean, it looks like a Scotland side, a Scotland B or a Scotland A, maybe even better than Scotland, because of the hard work, the guile that they put in. I looked at the game against Denmark, Aaron Mooy, which is probably the most talented player they have. He was man-marking Eriksen. Everywhere Eriksen was, Mooy was, and then, Suter at the back plays for Stoke City. He had a magnificent game against Denmark. Now, they are well settled for this game because they got a little bit of a siege mentality, the fortress mentalities. You attack us, we defend, a little bit like Cowboys against Indians. But can they actually manage to hold on for 90 minutes against Argentina? I don't know. What is true that I think they're going to offer more than Poland, because Poland, who were completely the anti-football, they knew they didn't have to concede. Whereas this one is a knockouts game. There is no goal difference. At some point, you need to go for it and try to lay a glove on Argentina. So that's why the over 2.5 goals to over 2.75 goals I like. With Argentina, the reservations I have, are they able to unlock low blocks from the starts, teams that defend really, really deep and very physical teams? We will see. I think Argentina are going to qualify, but if you think maybe it's not going to be as comfortable as it could be, maybe it's a 1-0 win, maybe a 2-1 win. The odds for Australia +2 are great because it pays 182. So if Argentina wins 2-0, which is a very comfortable win in the end, you get your money back. You haven't lost. But if they only win by 1 goal margin, you win a very good price, 182, still with Argentina winning.
Argentina to win without conceding is 1.65, something that we've seen against Mexico or Poland. Armin is asking you guys, what score would you predict for this one? Danny already said it. Alvaro, we have to play a correct score game.
Let's say 3-0. 3-0.
Alain, you also saw goals?
Yes, 3-0 or 3-1, because maybe Australia can score a goal.
All right. Of course, we all see Argentina going into the quarterfinals, and the World Cup is getting better and better for Argentina for sure. You mentioned Poland. Let's analyze the games we have on Sunday. Let's start with France-Poland. And let's start with Alain's opinion on France. Of course, Deschamps shuffled the cards against Tunisia, and they lost against Tunisia. And despite the victory against Australia and against Denmark, Alain, you still had doubts about this French team. Poland is a very dull, very boring, very weak opposition for this one. But are you convinced about this France after what you've seen in the group stages?
Ask to a Deschamps team if the team convince you is a good question, but is a question without answer, because in the aesthetical point of view, the team of Deschamps are not a pragmatic team. In the mind of Deschamps after the game against Denmark, it was, I win 4 games and I will be win the World Cup. Is that mentality. And you saw a team against Tunisia without motivation, really weak in the individual duel. without offensive production. The first shoot in the target was in the minute 78 for France. They have the focus to the game of 18 of final. Now the question is, who is Poland? Who is Poland? I don't saw an identity. I don't saw an identity. 3 games, 3 different system, changement of position of the player, Zielinski winger, with the block at 30-35 meters to waiting, Lewandowski alone. You have Lewandowski in the team, and you aren't able to create something for him. I don't say create a lot of occasion. No, 2-3 balls, Lewandowski will be scored, and there will be the Euro, the last World Cup. This World Cup is every time the same music with Poland. Now Lewandowski asked for some for better production at offensive phase. I have a lot of doubt the team can be able to do that. I don't know. I think France have the best draw they can have for that game, because Saudi Arabia and Mexico can be worse for France, especially for the model of play and the reason. But for that game, we saw France received goal in every game in this World Cup, and I think Poland can be scored a game. France, of course, 2. Both teams score odds 2.56.
Well, Poland to score. I think the whole world was supporting Mexico, apart from Poland, of course. In that group, Alvaro, Poland is one of the most criticized teams, I think, in the World Cup, despite qualifying to the last 16. Boring, appalling, stingy. We can go to the dictionary and try synonyms for boring for Poland. Well deserves all this criticism around the Polish national coach and the team.
I think so. 𝐜𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐷𝐿 was a manager the other day that he was either incapable, or he was frozen, or passive, or he was just happy with keeping it like that. But they were playing with fire. Had they gotten more cards, Poland would have been out. Had Mexico scored more goals, they would have been out as well. So, I think the Polish side was very disappointing against Argentina. That said, they qualified. And the truth is that in this World Cup, I think that this is going to be the last game of the Poles. I really think that they are not going to go any further. In fact, qualifying for them was probably enough. And I agree totally with Alain. It was ridiculous that they didn't have a plan to feed Robert Lewandowski at least a couple of balls. And then Lewandowski, he can miss it or not, but at least he will have the chance. You have to use your best tools. And Poland doesn't have a plan to use their best tools. I know that Argentina were good, especially in the second half, but still, the performance of Poland was very poor, because sometimes these sides that they don't have the possession, at least they've got a very good plan to counterattack. They know who to give the first pass to, the second pass, and then they unroll the counterattack. Poland doesn't do that either. So, I think that France is going to go through here. Probably Poland was happy enough with qualifying, and probably Matty Cash is happy enough with getting Messi's shirt via Emiliano Martinez, as he talked to the radio the other day. He was so happy, Matty Cash, to get Lionel Messi's shirt. Poland only beat Saudi Arabia in this World Cup. France is a good side. One thing that we know now about France is that after the many injuries they have had before the World Cup and during the World Cup, well, they have a pool of 11 or 14 players. The talent of France is big, but the pool of talent is not infinite. We saw that against Tunisia. The more the sum sticks to the best players, the better. I think that when France had to win in this World Cup, against Australia, against Denmark, they did it. They scored 6 goals in the process, 4 against Australia, 2 against Denmark, 3 on average in each significant game. So I think that France is going to score here. I'm pretty sure about that. And one small line about Kylian Mbappé. I mean, his sudden dashes are incredible. In a few glimpses, in a few flashes, he has proven that he's the most dangerous player in this World Cup. And that's why I'm going to bet on Mbappe. Mbappe to score 1.9. I think that he can do it here. And I'm going to bet on something related to Mbappe just accelerating on his wing, which is Matty Cash or Grigor Krychowiak to get a card that pays from 2 to 225. That is the range. Krychowiak, 225. Matty Cash, 2. So keep that in mind. But if we talk about the team betting, I will say that Asian handicap minus 1.425. No, Asian handicap minus 1.25 for France, 166. That will be my bet.
Well, we have Corello agreeing with Alain, both teams to score. France is conceding goals even against Australia. And Armin also flagging Mbappe to score at any time, 1.8. And actually, I loved Mbappe playing for Denmark, one of the best individual performances, I think, so far in this World Cup, Danny. And it's showtime, of course, for these big stars. And also a name that we haven't mentioned yet, Alain always flag him when talking about France, is Griezmann, that he's playing a key role for this France.
Very good tournament for Griezmann, who had a goal disallowed last day. He was offside. And I think the position of Griezmann is so interesting because he's a half midfielder, half attacker. He's the player in between the lines, but when he clicks and when he runs in behind, he can be really dangerous. Look, the question with France is, when they're going to face a tougher opposition, is Deschamps going to take out Dembele and put another midfielder? Or is he going to stick with the same formation and the same man? But we'll only know that from the next round when they will qualify and they will face the likes of England or Senegal. We'll see. The impression I got with France is that in all the 3 games they played, even in the second half in Tunisia, they can score when they want. When they put their foot on the gas, they can go and score and they can go and create big chances. And also, they're going to stretch that Poland defense. They're going to run in behind that very slow back line of Poland and create a lot of chances, a lot of gaps that perhaps Argentina were not able to do in the first half. When it comes to France, they do have a tendency recently under Deschamps not to score in first half. Actually, the goals that they scored against Australia were the only goals they scored in first half in the last 11 matches. But apart from that, I think, France have looked the business. Then obviously we need to see what changing 8-9 players in the third game makes to your fitness, to your mentality, whether it's better to keep on winning. Look at Van Gaal, he didn't do many changes against Qatar, but maybe a little bit of rest in that conditions are always good. Poland, I mean, anti-football. It is the football from the 60s, from the 70s. It doesn't exist that football anymore. But the problem with Poland is that they were in a right track with Paulo Sousa after the Euros, a manager that at Fiorentina has showed something, good positional football, progressive, keeping possession. They got rid of him. There were problems in the federation, and they brought in 𝐬𝐭𝐻𝐿. 𝐬𝐻𝐿 is from another era. He was managing the under 21 7, 8, 9 years ago. Had successes domestically 4, 5, 6 years ago. It's a bit of a dinosaur, I'm afraid. But anyway, I don't think they're going to pose much of a threat to France, and I like France to win and to win convincingly. I'm going to go for an Asian handicap, minus 1.5 for France, 194. I think they're going to win by 2 goals or more, 2-0, 3-1, and France are going to progress to the last 8. Yeah, that's my thing.
It's a pity having players as 𝐻𝐿𝐴zny, Lewandowski, Milik.
𝐻𝐿𝐴zny is amazing. 𝐻𝐿𝐴zny is amazing. He saved 2 penalties this World Cup. He's been amazing in Serie A. He overperformed. But basically he kept them on the tournament. But they also have got the good players. 𝐬𝐭𝐤𝐿, who plays for Spezia, Zielinski mentioned, Milik, who plays really well for Juventus. But you need to make them play. You need to give them something, a platform. You cannot just throw the ball on and Lewandowski is 30 meters from the others.
Well, at least, guys, you are finding, I think, good bets because the favorites are really favorites in these first 4 games in the last 16 round, apart from Netherlands, that actually pays all right. Because the last one is England, Senegal, and here we have England to win 1.5, 1.6, big favorites, of course, against Senegal. I think it was a surprise, Alvaro, especially because we now learned that you really like CONMEBOL and Ecuador. Senegal beating Ecuador without Mane, without the star. Sarr is taking the leadership of the African team. It's nice to see an African team in the last 16 round. We saw Senegal already in the World Cup in Korea and Japan in the last 16. And let's see how this England works out, because this is Southgate territory. So far, we've seen England cruising in the knockout stages without a flashy way of playing, but pragmatic as the champs.
Yeah, well, let me clarify first. It's not that I love the CONMEBOL. It's just the fact that South American football is pretty decent. And if you go back on time, you will see that many South American sides, they've been competitive. But well, anyway, back to the thing. I think that this game is going to end up flattening England. I really think that England will have the upper hand. I see that there is certain good vibrations about England. Even they've got a joint top scorer of the tournament in Marcus Rashford, who, by the way, if I want any player to be the top scorer of the World Cup, is Marcus Rashford, because his social and human actions during the pandemic were astonishing. Millions of kids in the United Kingdom were able to eat one hot meal a day thanks to Marcus Rashford. So congratulations to them and to him. For this game, look, I can go from the individual market to the team market or the full-time result market. I like many things here. For example, Harry Kane has given 3 assists in this World Cup. So I could go for Harry Kane to score or assist in this game. That pays 167. And in fact, I back that one strongly. And Harry Kane to have 2 shots on target or more in the game doubles up your bet. This one, I don't back it so much, but I think it is worth mentioning this one. But I'm going to go for England to win and over 1.5 goals. That pays 1.9. I'm going to stay with this one.
Well, England-Senegal over 2 goals is telling us Red Room. Danny, you live in the UK. Do you see the hype for England? Do they see themselves already in the quarterfinals, or there is respect from Senegal? Be careful, because these guys have been competitive.
No, not just yet. They don't see themselves in the quarterfinals because England has gone through so many disappointments in the last years that they know they need to take one game at a time. Of course, they know they're favorite because Senegal hasn't got Mane and really the main players. But with England, what Southgate has done to the team, he transformed them into a tournament machine. They're not pretty. Sometimes they're spectacular, not always, but against Wales, that was the 8th clean sheet they kept in the last 3 major tournaments. It took them 5 tournaments going back to 2006 to keep the same number of clean sheet before. So they don't concede goals. And I always say the defenses win you the tournaments, the attacks win you the matches, but you need to not concede goals. And we saw that with England. They are absolutely solid, and I would expect them at some point to go back to the back 3 with Walker protecting Maguire and Stones, who got a little bit more pace, and the 2 wing backs to protect the results. That's how they got to the European final against Italy. By the way, in the last 3 major tournaments, England only lost 2 games against Belgium in 2018, so they know how to negotiate knockout stages. We don't know whether they are able to beat top oppositions back to back. But as I mentioned before, this is a low-scoring World Cup, maybe because of the lack of preparation of the teams, and also because maybe a lot of teams have got many injuries, but also because the level of international football is very, very similar. When you look at knockouts, yesterday I spent a few hours with the calculators, and I looked at the last 2 World Cups and the last 2 Euros knockout stage games. Right, 41 games out of 62 were under 2.5 goals in the last 4 major tournaments. So that's the 66% under 2.5 goals. Of course, every game is different, but normally this is the trend. In this World Cup, 26 games have been both to score no. That means if you don't concede, if you are solid, you are with a great chance to go through, and that's probably England's best strengths. And I'm going to tell you more. When the 16 teams that gonna go into this round played each other in the group, so for example, Senegal, Netherlands, England, USA, etc. You get the gist. 6 times they were under and 2 times it was over. One of the time was Portugal-Ghana, first half 0-0. So when teams of similar strength play each other, most of the time, it's an under. It's not a goal fest because they got better defenses, because they got better goalkeepers, because they've got a better structure. So England have a chance here to progress if they keep it tight. Senegal is a very physical team. It's going to give them problems, especially on set pieces. England got a deeper squad, so that's why they are favorites. I like the over 1.25 goals in the second half. That's where we've seen most of the goals coming in a game that I think is going to be an under 2.5 goal anyway. So if you go over 1.25 goals in the second half, 208.
Not many goals, and Danny is giving you all the stats for this game. We have Haigu from Somalia telling us Asian handicap 0 in the first half for England. Alain, many of the players for Senegal, they play in League 1. Do you see trouble for England to beat the Senegalese team? Are they going to have more trouble than you with the camera to beat Senegal, or they are going to be comfortable?
I think it's the first game in the World Cup for Senegal that don't have pressure, because Senegal arrived to this game with the goal complete. That it was arrived to the 18th of final, especially without Sadio Mane. Now Senegal is really dangerous in one of the part of the game where England suffer a lot. The transition in offensive phase, when they recover the ball, Senegal is really fast. They have a player to put serious danger to the defense to the England. Now England, I think against United States, there were not the best version. That against Wolves in the second half, we saw the potential in offensive phase about England. Senegal in Africa with Morocco, they had the team stronger in defensive phase. They don't receive a lot of goals. Senegal is a team known and
We lost the audio of Alain.
You might have lost Alain.
Alain, your audio is gone. Well, the African teams, actually, they are doing great in this World Cup. Alain, touch something because the audio is not working. We still have to see if the other African teams that are playing on Friday, they can qualify, Ghana or Cameroon. But the thing is that, Alvaro, Danny, the African teams, they are much more prepared tactically in this World Cup, and we've seen them very competitive.
Yeah, they are.
Yes.
And the nice thing is that they are coached by Africans this time, no longer by Europeans. So that tells you that the movement is improving. Hopefully, soon we'll see some of these African coaching Ligue 1, in Premier League, why not, in Serie A, of course. And yeah, I mean, that shows the evolution of football. Everyone now these days can defend. Everyone knows how to be solid, how to be compact. And yeah, the African teams have also got the talent there, which they do have. They can be really, really, really dangerous. And yeah, it is a good thing to see, of course.
The thing, Edu, is that...
Yeah. Alvaro?
No, I was saying that in the last African Cup of Nations, not so long ago, January 2022, we saw that it was a rather defensive tournament, and the teams were tactically very savvy as well. And I think that they are translating this into the World Cup. The only thing with Senegal is that, for me, there is a characteristic about them, is that they tend not to stuff the opponent's box with attackers. So rather than having target men, rather than having people in the opponent's box, what they do is just they arrive. They arrive through the channels, and that's why they take so many shots with players running, with players from outside of the box as well. So this is something that is going to help probably players like Declan Rice or even Jude Bellingham, because they are so fast in transitions too, that this can be their kind of game. So I think that many Senegalese players, they are very good when they arrive running into the box, but the English midfielders are pretty fast as well. So I don't think that Bellingham and Rice are going to suffer a lot from this type of game that Senegal is offering.
Like Sar, for instance, Alain, playing for Nice and doing a decent tournament. Alain? Alain is gone.
We lost Alain.
We lost Alain. Okay, this is it. Alain's tip was Harry Kane to score at any time. Alvaro was going for Harry Kane as an assist man. As
score or assist?
Score or assist. He's playing a different role actually for England in this World Cup, because before he was the only scorer that England had in the previous games, and in this World Cup he is playing a different role and assisting a lot. Well, let's finish the video, guys, with your safe bet, your favorite bet for the weekend, for the games on Saturday and Sunday. Alvaro, starting with you.
Yeah, it would be France to win and over 1.5 goals in that game. That pays 146.
I think we are all pretty sure that France is going to win that game. Danny, your safe bet?
Same. I'm glad Alain is back. France to win 132.
Alain, safe bet?
Safe bet for Poland over 1.75 goals, 1.33.
You all agree? So it must be safe. Let me know, guys, in the comments if you agree with all of them, because they all chose the same safe bet. And well, since we have 4 games this weekend, why not to place an ACCA for Saturday morning so you are entertained during the weekend? Alvaro, tell me yours.
Of course, France to win and over 1.5 goals. England to win and over 1.5 goals. Argentina versus Australia over 3.5 cards. Altogether 405.
You have it there, always playing with passion, Argentina, so cards can be granted for this game. Danny, your ACCA?
My ACCA is 4 games. Netherlands, USA, first half X2. Argentina, Asian handicap -1. France, Asian handicap -1. And England, Senegal, under 2.5 goals. Total odds 495.
Similar odds. I think Alain is going to be a little bit more ambitious. Alain?
Yes, Christmas is coming. Holland, United States, X 3.42. Argentina, Australia, no both team to score 1.45. France, Poland, X at halftime 2.55. England, Senegal, 1.63. Total 19.34.
Indeed, Santa coming.
If I must to play, I will be play the ACCA of Dani and Alvaro. Not
great, thanks. that's reassure. That's good for the people who watch. I'll be playing your instead.
Alain, true legend. Armin is telling us. Well, Alvaro, Dani, Alain, both, all 3 true legends, giving you the best tips. So to finish the video, which ones are going to be the 4 quarter finalists, Alvaro?
I'm going to be so boring. Netherlands, Argentina, France, England.
Ooh. All right. Alain?
USA, Argentina, France, England.
Some surprises. This is one of the World Cups with surprises, Danny.
USA, Argentina, France, Senegal.
Okay, 2 surprises for Danny. Thank you for this
nice.
really entertaining video.
Like in 2002.
Hope you enjoyed it. I did. And remember, of course, write the comments and tell us your tips. On Monday, we have another video for the other 4 games for this last 16 round in the World Cup. In the meantime, don't forget, press the like, subscribe, and enjoy the World Cup. See you guys.
See you.
See you. Bye-bye.